Hey everyone, Tech OG here, representing those who are 50 and up who love their tech. Each year, certain smartphone companies hold press events to showcase their new lineup of smartphones and accessories such as watches, earbuds, and other things. Apple just recently held their release event of the iPhone 17 series with the iPhone 17, 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and the iPhone Air running on iOS 26. The OS, hardware, and software offer new features that make them stand out from other competitors' smartphones. But will you decide to trade in the phone you're using to finance a new iPhone? Let's explore what these phones have to offer. Now, here's a quick glimpse of the phones over here. We have the iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Air, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now let's start with what all the phones are going to have or have to offer. Phones are going to have an aluminum body except for the iPhone Air, which will have titanium. They're all going to have a ceramic shield front and back. They're all going to have a Super Retina display. They're all going to have the action button where you can use that to take pictures and select certain features when you're taking pictures and videos. They're all going to have a water resistance of 6 meters up to 30 minutes. They're all going to have the A19 Pro processor chip, so they're all going to run the same chip. They're all going to have a center stage front camera, where the portrait camera or the front camera will take portrait or landscape selfies without you turning the phone, which is kind of cool. They're all going to have dual capture recording, which has been on Samsung phones for years. And they're finally putting that on iPhones. I think that's kind of cool. But again, Samsung has had it for who knows how long. I believe it's since the Galaxy 5S. They're going to have, all of them will have macro photography so that you can get close in on a picture and take very close snapshots of objects and whatnot. They're all going to have a 3000 nit peak brightness. They're all going to have 48 megapixel cameras. Doesn't matter how many cameras are on the phone, each camera is going to be 48 megapixels, period. They're all going to have Apple Intelligence. Don't know how to compare that to Google Gemini or ChatGPT, but from what I've been reading, Google Gemini and Chat are much better than Apple Intelligence. They're all going to have MagSafe, so you can use the back for magnetic accessories such as pop sockets, wallets, things like that. Most of them will have a USB Type 3 port, or USB 3 for fast data transfer. The iPhone Air will have a USB 2. What that basically means when it comes to charging, if it's USB 3, they will charge 50% or up to 50% in 20 minutes. But for the iPhone 17 Air, it'll charge up to 50% in 30 minutes. So a 10-minute difference from USB 2 and USB 3. And each of the models in the US, each of the phone models will be eSIM only. From what I've heard and read, the international models will have a SIM card, but for the US, sorry US, just eSIM only. Now, what's kind of cool about the eSIMs from what I read on one website is that 2 eSIMs can be active at the same time, and the phone can hold up to 8 eSIMs. Again, 2 can be active, but you can have a total of 8 on one phone. Now, there are other features and hardware, software that all other phones will have, but I'm not going over every single thing. I just went over from my list that I have from my notes, the most important things, quote unquote, that each of the phones will have. You can find other information on websites. You can go on the Apple website and see all the things that the phones will have in common. Now, the small, unique features that each phone will have. We'll start with the iPhone 17. The iPhone 17 will have a dual camera setup on the back. 2 times optical zoom, and 8 gigabytes of RAM. The iPhone 17 Pro and the Pro Max, they both will have up to 8 times optical zoom, 12 gigabytes of RAM in each phone, and the Max will have up to 2 terabytes of storage, unheard of on any phone. For the most part, for a lot of phones out there, the maximum amount of storage was 1 terabyte. But for the Max to have 2 terabytes, that is unheard of. That is pretty cool, but the price goes up, way up too, for those 2 terabytes of storage. The iPhone Air, the unique features of that, the titanium body, which I've already mentioned, and the thinness of the phone. It is Apple's thinnest phone at 5 millimeters thin, but in my opinion, it does not beat out the coolest designed Apple phone that I've ever seen, the iPhone 6s. This phone, I am still in love with. This is just awesome. This is 7.1 millimeters thick, but still thin enough for me. And like I said, just the design of it is just delicious. But not trying to take away from the iPhone 17 Air, that is impressive for it to be 5 millimeters thin and have an all-day battery life. Now the prices for each of these phones, and I'm going to talk about just the base model, just the very basic. For the iPhone Air 17, or 17 Air, excuse me, that's going to be $1,000. Or for those who want to be specific, it will be under $1,000 at $999. Whoa, just run up to $1,000. The iPhone 17, $799 or $800. The iPhone Pro or 17 Pro, $1,099 or $1,100 plus tax. And the 17 Pro Max will be $1,199 or $1,200 by itself. The most expensive iteration of the newest iPhones, the iPhone 17, will be the iPhone 17 Pro Max with 2 terabytes of storage at a whopping $1,199 or $2,000, and it doesn't even unfold. Now, if you're interested in getting one of these phones, you can go to your carrier, because your carriers have some really cool trade-in value deals. Even the Apple website has some cool, have various, pretty much similar trade-in values as carriers. I will leave this link in the comment section so that you can pull it up and see all the trade-in deals that all of the carriers have to offer. So if you're on AT&T, for example, let me slide this over, you can get up to $1,100 in credit after a trade-in, which will bring the cost down so that if you're financing, or I would say when you're financing, because most people can't pay this out of pocket unless you're a millionaire or a billionaire or a public official that makes some good money. Again, $1,100 in credits. For the iPhone 17, you get up to $800, the 17 Pro and the Pro Max up to $1,100 in credits. The iPhone Air up to $830, and if you want an older phone from last year, AT&T has the 16 and 16E with those credits right there. Boost Mobile, you have similar credits, but the highest you can get is $830. T-Mobile, which I'm on, and I love their deals, you can get up to $1,100 in credits for the same particular phones, and they have 3 older models from last year, the 16, 16 Plus, and 16E, with these trade-in values right here. Now, it depends on the phone that you have too, and the condition. So if you have a broken screen, then your trade-in value definitely goes down, way down. And with Verizon, you have the same similar deals. Wait a minute. So the iPhone Air on T-Mobile, you can get up to $1,100 in credits, but on Verizon, only up to $1,000 in credits. And the credits will be divvied up for the amount of time that you're going to finance the phone. So if they're going to be 2 years, 4 years, whatever, the credits will divvy up per month, so that You won't have to pay that out of your pocket. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna trade in the phone that you probably just finished paying off to get the latest and greatest iPhone? Or will you stick with the phone that you have? Because if you have a newer phone, something you bought last year or the year before that, the software updates will still be available, so the phone will still get its updates, will get new features, things like that, so it'll still stay fresh for a good while. So you're good to go, especially if you have Samsung, because with their phones you can get up to 5 years of updates and OS refreshes. So you're good to go with that. But if you want to get the newest iPhone 17 Pro, then definitely get it, because the trade-in values that you've seen that I've just shown are kind of decent. Now, when it came to other phones that the carrier sold in the past, there was much better trade-in values and deals, especially with T-Mobile, because with the my Samsung S10 Plus, I could have traded that in for an example for a, the Motorola Edge? The Motorola Razr Ultra. That was an $1,100 phone or $1,200 phone. I could have traded in my S10 Plus, which is an 8-year-old phone, for $1,000 for that phone. So I could have just paid $100 cash for the phone and got credits toward the phone through bills and financing. So like I said, it was just $100 plus tax for the phone if I traded in my S10 Plus. I'm not sure if I can trade in my S10 Plus now for the iPhone, but I'll have to check it out. Even though I'm not going to get the iPhone 17 or any of the 17 models, because I have my iPhone 13 right here that's jailbroken and it's untethered, and I'm not going to get rid of this phone ever. If I was interested, I can go check and see what phones are eligible for trade-in and what phones will get me the highest amount in credits. But I digress. What are you going to do? Are you going to get the newest iPhone, trade in your phone that you have, or are you going to stick with the phone that you have, or maybe trade it in later? Let me know in the comment section what you decide to do for yourself. And if you do get the iPhone or any of the new iPhone 17s, let me know what you think about it, because there are a lot of people over the weekend that got theirs, and they're in stock at Apple stores. So definitely go get one if you're interested. So let me know in the comments if you got one and what you feel about it. If you enjoyed this video and the content that I had, please give a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Tell your friends about my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.